You brothers, you could move mountains without lifting a finger.
Minister Malcolm X.
Good news, the chariot is coming.
Who's the greatest? That's right.
Jim Brown takes the ball.
Your record is gonna stand the test of time.
All together, yeah.
Hi, this is Kathy. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Today, I'll be reviewing One Night in Miami, now streaming on Amazon Prime. This is the first feature film directed by Regina. The screenplay is by Kemp, who also wrote Pixar's Soul, and the play that this film is based on. The man is having a hell of a year. One Night in Miami is about the meeting between four legends at the precipice of changes in their life in 1964. So at this point of their lives, we have civil rights leader Malcolm X, played by Kingsley Ben-Adir, who's ready to leave the Nation of Islam and is fearing for his life. We have young boxer Cassius Clay, who will soon be known as Muhammad Ali, played by Goree, who is preparing to announce publicly that he has just joined the Nation of Islam and has just become the world heavyweight champion. NFL superstar Jim Brown, played by Aldis, Hodge, considered one of the greatest football players of all time, contemplating leaving football to pursue an acting career. And soul singer and songwriter Sam Cooke, played by Odom Jr., the pioneer of bringing gospel and R&B music mainstream, performing for cold white audiences, hoping to continue his successful career. As I said in my review for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom about a film based on a play, it's really tricky to translate a play into a film and do it correctly. Most plays are set in 1 to 2 locations and the film can become very static. But again, they do a great job with the way that they film it to not make it static. There's so much movement, there's so much emotion coming through with every camera angle. Regina did an incredible job in directing. In their conversations that night, you get to see their different ideologies and different approaches. The vulnerability is so beautiful to see, especially being successful Black men in the civil rights era. And almost the responsibility they feel to do something or feeling like they're not doing enough, when they're all fighting simply to exist and to be and to move the culture forward. Together, they show a range of possibilities for Black Americans to engage and reshape the conversation at the time. Ultimately, it's all about achieving equality for Black Americans. And in 1964, we're at the height of the civil rights movement. But of course, they have different approaches and different personalities, and they tend to butt heads, especially Malcolm X and Sam Cooke. Kingsley Ben-Adir plays a side of Malcolm that we've never really been able to see. We're used to seeing this eloquent, powerful civil rights leader, but who is the man with his wife and his children? Who is the man with his friends when he's able to put his guard down? And to add another layer to that, this man who is fearing for his life, who now that he's leaving the Nation of Islam, feels like he has an even bigger target on his back. And he wasn't wrong.
It should make everyone angry. Well, you bourgeois Negroes, you're too happy with your scraps to really understand what is at stake here. This movement that we are in is called a struggle because we are fighting for our lives.
And Malcolm feels that his three friends can use their platforms to elevate the movement, to move everything forward. And when he butt heads with Sam Cooke, he believes that Cooke is essentially selling out and just pandering to a white audience. Because at this time, out of all of them, Sam Cooke is the biggest star at the moment. He's writing his own music, he has his own record label, and what Malcolm fails to realize is that he's opening the door for other Black artists to elevate in the industry. Like I said, they all have different approaches on how they want to move everything forward. And Odom Jr. as Sam Cooke was such brilliant casting.
I'm the one doing all the seducing.
Problem is, at the Cooke, you have to sell that message to a bunch of white folks.
That don't matter. They got souls, don't they? And every living thing with a soul can have that soul tapped into. I thought you'd know that.
You think just maybe your energy's misdirected, Sam, trying to tap into white people's soul?
No, I don't.
And we have Jim Brown, who is such a powerful presence, played by Aldis, Hodge, who I think is such a powerful actor. He's very subtle, but it's almost impossible to keep your eyes off of him the way he commands the screen. At the time, Jim Brown was breaking records, one of the greatest football players of all time. Yet he knew how little Black humanity mattered, even if you're a celebrity.
Hero, you say? I ain't no damn hero to them.
And we get to see a glimpse of that in his first scene when he goes to visit a family friend, sitting on the porch. This man feels so genuine. This white man is talking to him about how proud the town is of his records and his success. And then he goes inside the home to move furniture, and he doesn't allow Jim Brown in because...
Oh, you should let me help you with that.
So considerate of you, Jimmy, but you know we don't allow niggas in the house, so it's quite all right. It really is wonderful to see you, son. You keep up the good work. You was all proud.
When I tell you, my mouth dropped because I felt that that man was so genuine. I was like, wow, you know what? Like, that's nice. That's nice, sir. Nope. Fooled me. What's so great is how Aldis Hodge plays that moment. He doesn't say a word, but you see it all on his face. It isn't even a disappointment. Well, yeah, there's disappointment and there's anger, but there's also a, I should have known. Like, of course you're like this. Like, of course this is what just came out of your mouth. And it was so perfectly executed. And then, of course, fast-talking, charming, quick and witty Cassius Clay, played by Goree.
Yes, Cassius Marcellus Clay is the new heavyweight champion of the world, boy.
Yes, he is.
And I don't even have a scratch on my face. Oh, my goodness.
Cash.
What's on, Cash?
What? Cash, what?
Why am I so pretty?
I absolutely adored this character and the way that he played it. It didn't feel like an impersonation. It didn't feel too over the top. He sounded just like him to me. I feel like he got the accent down and the cadence. Honestly, even Kingsley Ben-Adir as Malcolm, I didn't even realize he's actually British, and his cadence as Malcolm was so well done. It is almost impossible to say which one of these actors was better because the best actor in that movie was whoever was on screen at the time. They all commanded the screen and you almost didn't want it to end. You wanted to continue being the fly on the wall listening in on these conversations. And that goes back to what I said about the filming. It doesn't feel static. It still feels like a stage play, like you're a fly on the wall, but it's still engaging. The most beautiful thing is that we don't often get to see black men portrayed this way. We get to see them be vulnerable, strong, flawed, real. For the first time that I could think, we got to see black men engage with one another with this raw honesty and freedom, which was the most beautiful thing ever. By the end of this movie, I was in pieces. I was so overwhelmed that I couldn't help but tear up. And hours after the movie, I was just sitting with it. This started with a conversation of Cassius Clay winning his big fight, leading to the conversation about an even bigger fight that they all had to face, which were the injustices and racial discrimination. By the end of the movie, Cassius Clay becomes Muhammad Ali, joining the Nation of Islam. Malcolm X has left the Nation of Islam, still has a target on his back, and has finished his autobiography. Jim Brown has quit football to pursue his acting career. Sam Cooke performs A Change Is Gonna Come, song written about his struggles in the civil rights movement.
Change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will.
It's sad to know that in reality, less than 2 years after the events of that night, 2 of the 4 would be murdered, Malcolm X and Sam Cooke. And now, all these years later, the only one still alive is Jim Brown. I almost want to say this is my favorite movie of the year, but we've just started. And honestly, that makes me even more excited. This new stream of film really gets me excited for the future of film. I think it's so great to see these 4 black legends get recognition. And in doing so, creating and elevating this new era of future black legends like Regina King, Kemp, and the entire cast. I think it's a really exciting time for black people in Hollywood right now. It's a different type of storytelling and it makes me so excited for the future of film. One Night in Miami has joined my extensive list of favorite movies of all time. And right now it's the top contender for my favorite movie of the year. So if you haven't already, go watch One Night in Miami, now streaming on Amazon Prime. If you enjoyed this video, please like. Make sure to subscribe for more content like this. Comment below your thoughts on One Night in Miami and any other movies you might want me to review. I'll see you in the next one.